Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of our Becoming One podcast with myself and my sister Lexi. I thought today that we could start with a meditation. So, whether you're listening to this doing something or not, you can still participate in this visualization. So, we'll take a moment to tune into our breath, allowing ourselves to arrive here and now. Hmm. I invite you to imagine a golden cord from your seat or from your feet, wherever you are connected with the surface below you, to extend down into the earth, rooting you with our mother, Mother Earth. As we root here, Mother Earth is offering her golden light, love, and healing, allowing it to rise up that same golden cord, rising up till it touches your body, fills your legs, your hips, your stomach, your lower spine, your chest, your upper back, filling up the center column, the channel within you, your spine, rising through your shoulders, your neck. Golden light cleansing and purifying your mind as it fills your head and rises through the crown of your head. Hmm. Allowing ourselves to feel nourished as we receive, as we connect, as we reflect, as we chat today, as you listen. Thank you for being here. Hmm. So today, I'm excited. Today's conversation is going to be around music and movement, somatics, which is a really big part of the shadow integration and healing process, a really big part of any process, really, when it comes to this inner work. So, inviting you in, Lexi, to, yeah, begin this
Yes.
conversation, as this was something that you had mentioned. Oh,
Oh,
we should really just have an episode talking about this. So, would love
about
to
the
hear,
power,
yeah.
yes, the power of music, the power of movement and music together
Mhm.
in shadow integration and exploring our shadow selves and meeting with our shadow selves in these places that are liminal, in these places that are not really here or there, you know?
Mhm.
And I find that music creates an environment and can create a space for the mind, for the body to not be so rooted in the intellectual, so rooted in, the chatter of the past and the present, but allows us to kind of get swept up in to meet our feelings, to meet our instinct to kind of, depending on the music, move our bodies. And that transcends language. I think that transcends culture. It transcends nationality and race. It's the way that music compels us to be with ourselves.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like it really does become an anchor. I remember you said that When we were talking the other day, you were saying it's like the anchor. It's such a powerful space holder. I know that if I have music on, it
Mm.
guides our energy, our consciousness in a really beautiful way to go inward, and as does like an altar, or if you do any mirror work, a mirror, or just specific spaces and items like this, the vibrations and the frequencies like really can shift and change your energy, which is why music and what we
Yeah.
listen to is so important. But when it comes to like with working with our shadow, a lot of what comes up are the emotions, right? The shadow loves to have like a guard, almost like a gatekeeper. Some people can see them as like blocks. We're like, okay, no, this is just how it is. This is just
Yeah.
why I am this way. This is like a part of my personality, a part of my identity. And so we're not really allowing ourselves to go underneath the surface to probably some stagnant energy, which could be some stagnant, suppressed emotions that are there. And I feel like when we turn on the music with
Mm.
intention, um,
Mm.
and allow ourselves that opportunity to move through the body, we're moving that stagnant energy to be able to then see deeper truths and to follow the the the
Oof.
the journey that the shadow is leading us to, that our higher self or whatever our intention is as well. But something I love to do, and I'm curious if you do this, but so I use Apple Music and I have an iPhone, and I love to ask Siri to just play music for me, or I'll just shuffle. And there was a time in my life where I was like, "You know what? I
Mm.
am trusting that my guides are going to provide me with the songs, the music that I need to hear right now." So I
Oh,
said
yes.
that. Yeah, I said that like years ago, and ever since, anytime I ask Siri to like turn on some music, it's always exactly what I need to hear, exactly where I'm at. And I could see this as like, "Oh my gosh, they're listening," and you know, like, they know how I'm feeling, they're always listening to me through my phone, but instead, I'm like, "Yo, like, I needed this, thank you, spirit, for this." But I'm curious if, like, you experience
Wow.
that where, like, the music just deeply resonates with you, or if you trust in, like, the shuffle of music, 'cause I'm
Trusted the trust the
do you
shuffle.
trust the
I I the shuffle is my boo. Me and the
Mm,
shuffle, we have a good relationship. I don't have Apple Music. I have an Android, so I use Spotify right now.
mhm.
And so I it's so wild to me that you're bringing this up because and that I don't even think we've talked about this besides in this
No.
moment because I do the
So
same thing.
personal.
I've been doing the same things. I think the first time I ever intentionally did that was maybe in 2019, 2020 when I
Mhm.
was really that was really the at this point in my life, 2019 to 2020 was the kickoff springboard for my meeting my shadow and like meeting her for the first time. And I know
Mm.
the shadow is me, like me and my shadow are one, but there is a beauty in recognizing like this is, also an aspect of myself that I can step back slightly from and go, "Oh, I'm meeting you. I'm seeing you. I'm recognizing and acknowledging your presence." And that was that time was that 2019 to 2020 was like really I got hit over the head pretty intensely
Mm, mhm.
by my shadow just getting hostile. Kind of we spoke about on the phone like a couple weeks ago of when the shadow is ignored or misunderstood that part of you becomes hostile almost or becomes desperate and desires and is pleading to
Yes.
be expressed. And so
And
when
can I
the
add, yeah, just
yeah.
really quick, like, just on that note, I feel like so much of that, is, like, our authenticity, like, really trying to come out, like, our soul being like,
Yeah.
"Yo, it's time to listen, like, we can't sit here any
Yes.
longer." But yeah, go
Oh,
on.
yes. No, you can't because it's
It's not in
in a lot
alignment.
of our it's a misalignment and I think it just happened out of nowhere, I had this hill by the apartment that me and Em were staying in, where I would go there by myself when I was just feeling completely overwhelmed by anxiety and paranoia and fear. And that was how, for me, how my shadow was manifesting, and me not even wanting to look at these parts of myself. It was manifesting in this just blind anxiety, just like general blind
Mhm.
anxiety. And that at least was the experience for me. That doesn't, go for everyone with anxiety, of course. But for me, there was definitely something where I was not caring for myself and acknowledging these parts of myself. And so I would go and sit on this beautiful hill with this gorgeous giant oak tree. And I remember clear as day, just going on my Spotify and just flipping through all the songs and just being like, I don't know what to listen to. I don't know what to listen to. Like, nothing feels good right now. Nothing feels good right now. And I just put it on shuffle. And the first song that came up was a
Mm.
song from the was a song from The Lion King. And it was
Oh,
not even a song. It was like the interlude from, sorry, not The Lion King, from Beyonce's uh
okay.
Black is King, because she did that as like she did that as a companion piece to like the new Lion King
Yes.
movie. And
Yes.
I had some of her songs on my Spotify, but she has an interlude where it is Mufasa's voice. And it's that part of the Lion King where he is saying, he's speaking to Simba towards the end of the
Mhm.
movie, like, remember who you are. And it like
Ugh.
morphed into these other songs by like Andy Grammer, Lauryn Hill. And I just remember sitting there looking at the sun, like blazing in the sky, and just like sobbing. I just started
Mhm.
sobbing. And this music came on, and it was, I don't, it was, and it's funny because I don't think I've ever told anyone this story. I just sat there crying and feeling so held by this music. It was like the piano and the lyrics and the horns. I think it was Andy Grammer's I will remind you,
Oh,
I will
yeah.
remind
Oh, it's a
you.
pretty song.
And that came on right after Mufasa was like, remember who you are, then
Remember who you are.
remind you. And I just started and it
Aw.
allowed me to have this space to like, I think that was really for me my first step in like, oh, I need to make space, or I need to look at this.
Mhm.
And it was music that gave me the safety and the sameness to just
Mm.
kind of fall apart. I was sitting in the and I could just fall apart and cry. And I truly deeply believe that that music was not a coincidence. I truly deeply believe that music is one of the most powerful ways that we can connect with the unseen world and with spirit and with
Definitely.
our guides, because it's is something that is so that music in its own way, because it is a vibration, because sound is a vibration, it exists in that place that is,
Mhm.
but between the rooted material reality and the vibrational reality of
Definitely.
sound and communication. So all of that story to say, yes, I do that, and I still do that to this day. When I find myself in a really difficult place, then and I can't move through, I don't feel like I can move through it, I will just put my liked playlist on shuffle, or put a new playlist on shuffle, and see what spirit has for me. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's a song for me to just dance to and jump
Yep.
around. Sometimes it's music where it's like rock music, and I want to just like stomp my feet and headbang. It's not always like these beautiful ballads and or these beautiful soft tones. I have learned through music, through accepting, more rap music, more hip hop music, being
Mhm.
intentional about different types of genres. It's also mirrored my acceptance of myself and my shadow.
Yeah.
If that, I think,
Definitely, that's
yeah.
beautiful. Ah, it gave me chills. I've had so many of those moments, especially in the car, and I'm like, "Whoa." And there's, like,
Whoa,
songs I
it's a
feel
big
like
whoa.
yeah, and there's songs that I love to sing that, like, help me move what is
Yes.
within my body through my voice, and it's like spirit knows, and it's like, "Alright, well, let's put 3 I'm like, "Of course, these 3 songs, so I can just scream my lungs out. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you."
And it gives you permission, and I think it gives you
It
permission to
does.
enter that place, like, when a song comes on the radio, for so many of us,
Mhm.
even pre-Spotify, pre-Apple, all of us have memories of being many of us have memories of being kids, sitting in the car and the radio coming on, and, like, the first chords of the music playing, and it's, like, just the music playing, giving you the permission to just belt it
Mhm.
out, to
Just gotta
have
get out.
fun,
Just gotta
get
get
it,
it
like,
right here.
yes!
Like, all those jam sessions, yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's oh gosh, it just
And
it
I
transforms
it's
it
beautiful.
transforms the space, it helps transform, you know, our
It
energy and what
clears
it clears, it can cleanse, it can give you clarity, it can, like, help you not
perspective.
be set in your mind, you know? It, like, really helps you get out of the mind and
It's
out of
heart opening
overwhelm.
in
It's
many
definite.
ways.
Yeah, it
It's
definitely
heart
can.
opening.
Yeah.
It can
And
be. It
it's
can be
like,
heart opening.
depends on the music. So,
Of
um
course.
I'm excited because I made a playlist. We have like 13 songs because our little homework was to just put together some songs that we associated with our journey of working with the shadow. So yeah, do you want to share a song first? And which one?
Oh. Oh, I absolutely would like to share. Um, so I'm having a hard time deciding between the first 2, uh, but I think I think one of the first ones I actually will want you to play is this song called, Dide O by,
Mhm.
Kokoroko,
Kokoroko, yeah.
and I want to share this one because this is an instrumental song. This is actually a song that has no lyrics at all. It's
Mm.
just an instrumental piece, and it was a song that supported me and still to this very moment supports me through grief and longing, because I do feel like longing can some for many people, at least for me, can actually be a shadow thing. Longing, yearning, and grief, like, and I feel like in many ways grief can be a sense of yearning and longing. And for many of us
Mhm.
that have trauma around not being able to have your own desires, or not being able to explore your desires or your wants in this life, or your the things that you long for in this life, that those things can be regulated to the shadow. They can be put into to the shadow place when you don't have a healthy relationship with your longings, or you don't feel like you're allowed to have longings. There is also a grief in that. And this song, I actually, the way I was introduced to it was by somebody. This was actually years ago, so I might not be remembering it clearly, but there was this beautiful couple that I had followed on social media, and they were documenting their experience of the man and the woman, and that they were getting ready to get married because he had a terminal illness and he was going to die very soon. And that they wanted to document their love, they wanted to document their experience and life together, and this wedding and marriage before he leaves the earth. And one of the first songs that his wife posted after he passed and they got married was Dide O. It was the first time I'd ever heard it, and it was like I
Wow.
got to find this song through someone else's vulnerable expression of their grief, because
Mhm.
she was sharing that this song had supported her through her grief of her husband at such a young age. I think they were in their early he was in his early 30s, and
Mm.
it really touched me that she would be so vulnerable. And there's a lot of other things in another podcast episode to be said about parasocial relationships and social media, but I was
Yeah.
so grateful for her vulnerability to share this song because it touched me so deeply, and it triggered my own feelings of of grief that I had not processed in my own life. And so I added it to my Spotify, and it started popping up when I would be doing my altar work, when I would be
Mm.
walking home from my job and feeling very lost and confused and anxious, and this song would come up, and it was almost because I had this association of this woman and her the love of her husband. It was almost like that song carried this weight from this beautiful stranger, carried this weight and meaning that when it would pop up for me, I felt like I could also move through those feelings and let
Mhm.
myself be like, yeah, I am grieving and anxious because I don't like that I have to work a full-time hourly job. Like, there is a grief in that. There is a frustration in that. I'm allowed to feel those things. I don't have to push it away and
Mhm.
act like it doesn't exist, that these feelings don't exist.
Exactly.
So that is my long intro to this song, because it was one of those first songs that really touched me in that way. So it
Oh,
means a lot
wow.
to just share a little, and it's such a simple, beautiful tune. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, here, let's hear
And
it.
I'm wrong. It's not fully instrumental. There are vocalists
There
in
are
it. So
vocals, that's okay.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
I think I've heard it before. It sounds so
Really?
pretty. Yeah, I think so. I can, like, just with you sharing that story as well, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel how it's, like, almost like, "Come on out, feel the things, keep it moving." It's, like, very guiding. It's very guiding.
Yes, that's
Instruments.
and it's so beautiful to, like, when you share your stories around music, it gives another person the ability to perceive it differently. And I think
Mhm.
that that is what is so powerful about music, is that we can all listen to the same piece of music and have our different feelings, but when you share it, especially when it comes to the shadow and the parts of ourselves that we don't want to see or we don't want others to see, there is a coaxing. You can hear it. There's a coaxing of, like, love mixed with, like, acknowledgement of grief and acknowledgement of
Mhm.
pain. Like, it's all wrapped up in this little this
It's
little
so
3-minute
beautiful.
song. Yeah.
I have quite a few songs, and it's one of those things where I'm like, "Hmm, what's the vibe?" There is this song, it's called Best Behavior. We'll actually listen to a bit of it before I share. Um,
Okay.
yeah, let's hear it.
I play the game, floating with the crowd. My nails cut beneath the bones. Oh, I am not so proud. These walls I found, they're closing now. I'm crawling out of my mind, but no one leaves me sound.
So this one, it's interesting, because it's from an album called Shadow
Mm.
Boxer, and
You wow!
right?
You couldn't write that. Whoa.
Actually not, and it came up, on one of the shuffles because when I shuffle using Siri for my music, the AI or the system, like, it creates a station for me, so it's not just using music that's on my, um in my library, but it's also music
It's
that's, like, suggested.
recommendations,
It's
right?
recommendations, yeah. Mhm. So this song I've been utilizing in for myself and then in ceremony for, like, release because it brings up that part of me. I feel that felt like she had to be, like, the golden child, that she had to be the good girl, that she had to
Ooh!
act a certain way, like, that people not even just, like, the people pleaser, but the one that's like, "Oh, that you have to be silent," right? And, like, throughout the song, it kind of, like, builds, and I love that about music. Anything that kind of, like, builds and, like, has this, like, constant kind of beat that's, like, keeping the heartbeat like, "Oh, okay. We're coming
Mm.
up. We're moving it," and anytime I listen to this song, it offers me that opportunity to, like, have a slow build into releasing that, into, "Okay, what have you been holding on to?" And I feel like throughout my journey of really reconnecting with my womb and honoring the different seasons of my cycle, this has been so helpful because
Wow.
when we go into that luteal phase before menstruation, before the actual bleed, the actual moon time, this is that space where a lot is coming out, which is why people are like, "Oh, PMS, like, she's just PMSing,
She's
hormonal and all these things."
hormonal.
Right? But actually, like, this is a heightened state where we are really meeting all of those parts of ourselves that have been suppressed, and I feel like this song, even, like, before that phase, like, really helped me at a time when I was just, like, trying to manage. I was trying to manage, and then I realized, like, "Okay, hey, like, you can actually speak your truth. You don't necessarily need to be the person that
On
is
your best
easy
behavior.
on your best behavior that's, like, palatable, right? You do not need to be palatable." So this song is always nice to, like, kind of, like, if I have some anger, if I have, like,
Yes.
those kind of shadows for me, even though they're protective, but they are shadows that would, like, really bring me more into that suppression to make me, think other people were like projections, and judgments towards others.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that the shadow isn't just like these belief systems, they're also what we project onto other people,
Oh,
and the
hugely
judgments that we have onto
projections.
other people, yeah.
Yes.
Whether we think we're
I
doing it or
yes.
not, and we are. So, that's a really big thing to project that someone's, seeing you a certain way or doing something to you. It really helped me to start, like, take taking responsibility for that, because that's what happens, like, when we're people pleasing, we're not taking responsibility for our own energy. We are giving
Mm.
that responsibility up to others, and then, of course, we are the victim of how others make us feel, when in reality, it always was coming from ourselves.
And I'm so happy that you shared this song because even just the little bit that you played, I felt that. Before you even said anything, I just felt this like, "Oh, wow. I already get a sense of how this may have helped Ari or how this may have guided you because they're the lyrics, the music, the drums. When you get drums,
The
the
drums!
drums,
Get
like
you some
that is
drum
ancestral, and whether no matter what genre the song is, like drums do something. And I love what you're saying about people pleasing too and having music to move through that. Because you're right, it's not just belief systems, it's projections, it's protections, it's coping mechanisms,
Mhm.
and the people pleasing also I this and it may stem from different places for others, but it is also a control. It's a control
Yes,
piece. It's
definitely.
wanting control
Mhm.
of if I can fine tune and control the way I'm perceived, the way that I'm likable, the way that I am palatable and pleasant, then I don't necessarily have to face the discomfort of being misunderstood, the discomfort of not being liked, the discomfort of not being held
Mhm.
or heard, and to be able to keep that at bay and to control others from seeing the authenticity that may not be perfection, the authenticity that may not be uh
Exactly.
you know, streamlined and sleek and put together. And I think that that song you chose, like, is a powerful examination of some of that. Like,
Yeah, so
whew.
and I noticed that even holding space in sacred release ceremonies, this song was like that point where it's like, "Okay, we've gotten into the body and now we're moving up." So this is that, like, great gradual, like, "Let's move up into this place," and then the next song is, like, high energy, "Let's let's get it moving.
Let's go.
Let's go." So, yeah, highly suggest, and I just wanna let everyone know listening that we are gonna share this playlist of the songs that we're talking about because we probably won't be able to talk about all of them, but I think we're getting a bit of a gist of how the
Yeah.
music has helped us move through things. Do you wanna share one more song?
Let's do No Good.
I had a feeling. Okay, before you say anything, let's hear it.
You better start rolling when you hear the man calling. It won't do you no good. It won't do you no good. No, we don't mind if you don't mind. Hell, I'll never mind. Now let them all run.
I love it. It's so similar to this other song that I have. But yeah, where tell us
Ooh.
about this song. What
S-
does it do for you?
Uh, so I have a background in music. So I'm a musician. I was a professional for those listening that don't know. I was a professional singer actor for over 10 years. So my background is in music and music theory, and so just even as a musician that started, before I was really ever taking this kind of journey to myself, I was always drawn to the feelings that would come up with like blues, like rock, alternative rock and bluesy rock. And I always felt such freedom in the groove of it, and would always feel things come up and with inside of me and not really have a name for it, not have a container for it, not have really any structure for it at all. And then when I started this, my spiritual journey, and I started this on this journey of awareness with myself and the world around me, I started to realize why connected to alternative, this kind of music so much. And it would unlock this part of me that I felt was always so controlled as a child. I was a very social, loud, goofy, off the rails kind of kid, as Ari could probably attest to. And I felt like that was something that would get me in trouble a lot.
Mhm,
It would get me in trouble a lot, for better or for worse. And this music is something that has allowed me to tap back into this part of myself that was always kind of tinged with fear and tinged with like, well, you don't want to show that side of yourself. Like it's not something that is controllable. It's not something that
yeah.
is it's something that you need to grow out of. It's something that you need to mature out of. It was all these
Mhm.
but listening to this music takes me back to that child part of myself that wants to just run down the sidewalk and wants to climb on the monkey bars, and having the teachers telling me get down from there. And that really all that it represents is exploration and curiosity, and also a little bit of not, I wouldn't even call it rage. It's not anger that this song allows me to move through. It was really
It's like
just
angst.
angst. I don't
Yeah,
really feel like angst was a part of myself that, and also, to be honest with you, with angst there's sensuality, there's sexuality,
definitely.
like there is an
Mhm,
element of sexuality and sensuality in rock music and angst. And that is something, you want to talk about projection. I used to project on other women all the time in the ways that they would be confident in their bodies, the ways that they would present themselves. I would project onto women all the time for expressing their sensuality, and not even sexuality, like sensuality. And that was a big
mm,
shadow aspect of myself, because I didn't know how to connect with that side of myself, and I associated it almost with the freedom of sensuality is really very close to the freedom of moving your body in ways that other people's want to police. And that's very
mhm,
similar to like when you're a kid, your parents are looking out for you. And sometimes though they do it to an extent where you don't feel comfortable in your own body, and you don't trust what your body is telling you. And so all of this roundabout way to say, this music takes all of that and gives me this pathway to feel it all and dance it all out. And I would use this music all the time to just go into my room and reconnect to my body,
Mm,
uh
mhm.
back to that side of myself, because I'm, people sometimes see me as a very serious person now. Because that's still a shadow thing I'm working through, is that my silliness and my goofiness and my sensuality and my embodiment of feeling is something that still feels scary for me, still feels
Yeah,
like could draw the attention
unwelcome.
of authority. And
Mhm.
so it's, for some reason, rock music specifically gives me that permission of like angst and sensuality and like breaking barriers. And it's something that I've noticed in other movement spaces and other release spaces and ecstatic dance. The way I see it affect other people, and the way that
Mm.
they growl and they move, it's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal.
That
So
is
yeah.
so wonderful. Thank you so
Oh,
much for sharing
yeah.
that. Wow. I love that. I'm gonna be listening to that song. 'Cause I agree. I think I go to, like, the rock for that specific reason, or just, like, really high
Really?
tempo hip hop and rap that,
Yes.
like, makes you just like, "I gotta, like" I don't even know how to describe it. I'm the type of person that's gonna describe everything with sound, so
Yes, I'm like, "Ugh." Like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see the expression on my face?
And not labeling it. We grew up in this
Exactly.
culture that has to label everything so much. And there's beauty, don't get me wrong, there is beauty and utility to labels, but I mean like labeling people's behavior, like,
Mhm.
oh, that they're a rocker, they're a punk, they're a goth. And that's great for the people to find their community. But what also happens is that then we start putting these barriers up in ourselves of like, well,
Exactly.
I can't express myself through this music because
Mhm.
I don't identify as like a rock person,
Like, how could I
or
do that? It's
how
like
can I listen to this music?
we're multidimensional. We also, like, don't need to live within barriers, when it comes to that, and
Exactly.
it's all about identity and how seriously we take that, and I don't think we need to take it
Mm.
as seriously as we do personally. But there's a song that's, like, similar to the vibe that No Good, the song No Good that you just shared. I can't play it here because if I were to play one part, it's explicit, but it's called Bad Girls by
Oh, I
MIA.
know that song that you're talking about. Yes.
Yes. So this song, okay, I used to play it every time, once again, returning to that luteal phase, every single time because I was just feeling, like, so much, and I I wasn't necessarily at the time allowing myself, like you were saying, to, like, express my sensuality, to express myself fully, to be loud. Because seeing you get in trouble for, your own goofiness and your rowdiness, like, it made me feel like that was not a good thing, so that was, like, my own shadow that I had to work through, projecting that onto other people. But this song really also helped me
Mm.
with that, but also interesting story, for any, like, energy workers or people that are working with shadows that feel like they are not their own, because there are collective shadows, there are, more energetic vampires and shadows that we can experience and feel, and that's why it's so important to cultivate and practice your own, not just discernment, but your own understanding of your own energy. And this song Bad Girls by MIA actually helped me connect with this part of me that felt strong enough to actually clear an energy, an
Whoa.
entity from a space that I was in, from a room that I was living in at the time. Um, and also helped me, like, call upon Kali. So if anyone, like, works with Kali
Ooh.
Ma, uh,
Yeah.
Kali Ma is, oh my gosh. For those of you that know her, she's a powerful, severer of heads of identity, um, just like this beautiful goddess of transformation, and I could feel like this was, like, one time where, like, I could sense in my third eye and really feel her there being like, "Alright, yes," like, teaching me how to move in this way, to, like, transform the energy within the space just with my dance and with my voice and, like, through the music, and it was, like, one of the most I haven't talked about this, I don't think I've talked about this before, but it was one of
Ugh.
the most powerful experiences, like, being able to make all of those connections. So anytime, like, I tune into this song, I'm like, "Oh, I remember that time." Holly and I were like she's literally teaching me as I was dancing, like, how to move this, and I was able to see it and sense it and to, like, feel so much more courageous within my being with it. I feel like if there wasn't any music there, there would be so much more going on in my mind, but this song is, like, so upbeat.
Mm.
There's, like, so much going on. She's like the girl's like, "My chain on my chest is a banging on the dashboard." She's, like, telling them off, and there's, like, the beat
Yes!
changes, and there's, like, a lot of little changes in it, and it's just, like, so helpful for, like, yeah, bringing me into a place of, like, sovereignty within my own being. So, that was, like, a little different, but it reminded me of the
Oh, it's all
song that you shared.
connected.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
absolutely, because there's something to be said about the beautiful the wisdom in Hinduism because she is a Hindu she's a Hindu goddess and she is,
Mhm.
the I believe she's considered, like, the female Shiva, she's the
Yes.
female, like,
Like the
form of
Shakti type.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she represents change, death, destruction, and rebirth. And for you to be like, for music to be able to give you such a beautiful portal to this primordial, powerful energy and being is like I feel that in my chest. And
Mm.
there are ways that humans like we tap into music and we create this music and really we're tapping into primordial energies. We're tapping into these goddesses and this animism of the world around us that some wants to communicate to us wants to communicate to us and wants to be in an accomplice to our growth because we're all connected. Our growth is the growth of the universe really. I thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that,
No,
and I
definitely.
don't know that you can always cut this out if you don't have time, but if you don't end up playing it. But the other song I included in our playlist, your learn your lesson, it ties back so much to what you were saying about our childhood and how it affected you and your shadow, where on the flip side I saw you being such a like you were very introverted, you were a straight A student, you were, always kind of the one telling me like, "Hey, don't, you don't need to be, why are you causing this trouble?" or, because you were protecting yourself. And so the ways that that impacted me and made me feel like I'm not good enough and I haven't learned. I'm not learning something here.
Mm.
I am not growing or maturing in a way. And there used to be this joke that you and Amara were really the big sisters because you were more serious
Mhm.
and more grounded than I was at that time because, of what you were going through. And so this song that I have on the playlist, Learn Your Lesson, uh, was very similar for your experience with that song, the Best Behavior song, where it was
Yeah.
this song is about this woman talking about a romantic partner, but for me listening to it, it was me to myself was like,
Mm.
oh, when are you going to learn your lesson? This time you should learn your lesson. It was this song provided me a space to kind of work through these feelings that I felt that way, that oh, I'm always going to be making mistakes, I'm never going to grow up and learn my lessons. and
Mm.
and allowing me to move through and accept that that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily true. I'm not broken or wrong for being human and making mistakes, and that I'm not, you know, I don't like this word, but I'm not insane because that would come up as a child like, "Oh, insanity is when you make the same mistake again and again and again, expecting a
Yep.
different outcome,"
Mhm.
was something that stuck for me from my childhood, and so this song,
Yeah.
Learn Your Lesson, touched that very tender wound for me.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you
So,
to all the artists out there really
wow. The
reflecting and
producers, the
putting into
musicians.
music, like, our experiences, and this is something we can do for ourselves too. But, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm excited to, like, listen to more of the songs. I'm gonna share, one last song is called All Is Forgiven, and,
Mm,
this is, like, specifically it's by All Faces in Mahogany, and it's, like, the Mahogany Sessions, And something
Ooh.
that's always super powerful for me is, powerful dynamic and emotional singing, is really powerful for me. So when I can feel that the artist is feeling it and singing it and it feels unique. It's not just, like,
Mm.
repetitive, like, there's more to the music besides just the production or the producing of the music. So I
Mm.
wanna just, like, share this, like, little part, because it was at the time that I heard this, it was during, like, a breakup that I had, with someone at the time that I thought, like, I had my entire future with, and there was
Mm.
so much coming up for me because I was that girl that was like, "No, I wanna stay together, let me make everything work, let me, ah," and it was very real at the time.
A lot of people could resonate with that.
Yeah, we're like, "No, I got this. I'm a loving person. We can make it work. I'm gonna be the best that I can be." And I didn't really give myself a lot of time to actually feel, the things that at the time that I thought were kind of a waste of time because I was just trying to grow myself to make myself
Wow.
who I thought he wanted me to be when it had nothing to do with me. And,
Wow.
so
Mm.
this like this has been a powerful song for not only those moments, but in other moments where I just wanted to sing loudly, um, in terms of faith and trust, and to just give myself permission to be like, "Hey, like, mistakes have been made or, like, things have happened, and you may feel like it's a mistake, but honestly, it's what's always been there." And I feel like with the shadow, a lot of times we go into darkness, and when we come out, the facade has been lifted. We start to
Mhm.
see things so much more clear. We start to see truth. We start to see people for who they really are at that
It's a
time.
big
And we start
perspective shift too, which can be
huge
a
perspective
little
shift.
disorienting sometimes.
Yeah. So this song is like really kind of that welcoming of of
Mm.
of this shift, of this permission to like move forward from this place. So I'm just gonna play like a little bit of it because it's beautiful.
Pain is a deed of time. You only need wait more. Hallelujah, they say, for all is forgiven. Hallelujah, they say, for all is forgiven.
And something I have
Oh,
a
that's
background
so
in in music as
beautiful.
well, and I love singing harmony, so, like, hearing their 2
Oh, you
voices and then
always
me being to,
have.
like, belting at the top of my lungs, like, these lyrics and, like, feeling the harmonization, it feels like you're in a
Mm.
room with people, like, expressing through these words, like, what you felt you needed to express to release what you needed to release, and so that's why I wanted to share that song because it was a little bit different than the others and kind of reflected that sense
Mhm.
of, like, utilizing our own voice and vibration to assist our body in recognizing, like, "Oh, it is safe for me to move this through and to not be silent." 'Cause so much of the shadow is about that suppression, is about that silence, is about
Mhm.
that pulling back and hiding away, so, like, to be
The
able to
pushing
do that,
out,
to
push
be
it
able
out,
to
get rid of it.
exactly. So to be able to, like, express and just open kind of a container to invite, like, yeah, this is happening. This is what's here. We get to choose how we see it, how we navigate it, how we move forward, and not feel like we have to have everything together right now. We can forgive ourselves for holding on to these things or projecting in a way that
Mm.
we felt subconscious. And there's just so many things that we feel like we can't forgive ourselves for, but this is like a really big mindset shift that I feel like within my heart that I'm here to really bring people into is opening and liberating the sense of love for ourselves to the point to where it's not just like, oh, you take care of yourself, you do self-care, and you just feel confident, you like looking at yourself in the mirror, but like actually being able to see and
Mm.
have awareness of these very nuanced parts of you, these parts of you that people probably wouldn't understand if you tried to explain them. And I know I've tried to explain them to people so often. And
Yeah.
it's all about like this unconditional loving force of
Mm.
actually seeing yourself for who you are and allowing the course to take its course, because it will. But we have to be open and we have to be curious and not have any or not allow the preconceived ideas of ourselves get in the way. So, yeah, and this is just a big thing that I know within the processing that I've been through that I'm here to share within this course that we have coming up. And I'm just excited to see how this translates because it's such a personal process. It's such a personal
Yes.
experience going through this work, and we do it all the time. It's not something to where it's like we just set aside a little bit of
Finish the
time here and
course.
there, finish the
Now
course
it's
and you're
done.
done. You could do that a
I'll
few times
revisit
a
this in a
year,
couple years. We said the same.
revisit it.
It's like, no,
But
this
really,
is a living dynamic relationship with the self that we are encouraging to be aware of,
yeah,
you
and it
know?
doesn't have to be super when you invite love in, it simplifies things. So, we do
Oh
not need
yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
overcomplicate, like, how it is that we go about things, and I'm excited to see within this space how that translates for everyone else and how that evolves and what that teaches all of us. Because it is medicine as we're tuning into these parts of ourselves, as we're creating these spaces and sharing these experiences like we have here today. Thank you so much, Lexi. Like it
Thank
is
you.
medicine for so many people. So I'm excited for everyone
We
to
need
check
each
out the
other.
list. We do.
Yeah. We need the mirrors. We need the mirrors. We need each other. And this is where it springs.
Exactly. Well,
Exactly.
exactly. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much everyone for listening. If you are here, if you're interested in becoming one, stepping into a group setting that's supportive and guides you with plant allies, with somatic support, energetic support. We'll be moving through
Mhm.
music. We'll be moving through a lot, but also
Oh yeah.
just really honoring our own pace, and this is kind of the whole point of the way that I've structured this, is
Yeah,
to
and
ground into our love first, and before we even
yes.
get to the dance, we gotta have a foundation to dance on. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and then we
And
go deep.
also the depth, and also, having those pieces and awareness of like the greater collective forces at play that all feed into it, whether it's
Exactly.
all of our experiences with sexism, with misogyny, with capitalism, like all the ways that those things,
Religion.
religion
Yeah.
and community trauma, like all the way that those pieces can color and influence our relationship to our shadow and our relationship to even approaching it at all, approaching that part of
Mhm.
ourselves too, and the
Yeah, we get to
foundation.
liberate that in
Yes.
recognizing that, like, we're
Yes.
not the only ones holding it, like, there's a web of us holding this, and
Vast, a
doesn't mean
vast
that we don't bring
beautiful web.
awareness to it, but that means
Mm-mm.
that, like, that awareness can be the liberation, to those
Yes.
parts of us to recognize, like, "Oh, you are not alone." I know that we think that all of our experiences are very isolated, but actually, this is part of a really large web, and, you don't have to do it alone.
Mm. It is far too big.
Can take some
Yeah.
of that weight off your shoulders to feel like no one else could understand what it is that
Mm.
you're moving through at this time because odds are a lot of people can. So, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so much to it. There's so much to it. We're just, like, sprinkling little, like, things here and there about this
Yeah.
space, but everything's gonna be in the description box below. You can always feel free to contact us. And, yeah, any final words, Lexi, to everybody listening?
Yes. My final words are a song, and it's this. It is way too big for you to carry this all alone. You are not alone. Those are my words.
Thank you so much. Thank you, that was so beautiful. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing so much of your vulnerability and your experiences today, Lexi. I appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone else does too. To be able to hear you speak and storytell is a blessing and such medicine.
My
So
goodness.
thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you. I love you, and getting to sit here and listen to you share with me and with all of the listeners is honestly, I'm sitting here looking at the sunset right now and just feeling so grateful for your wisdom and your courage to share your heart. Uh, it
Mm,
leaves me speechless, really. It really
mm.
does.
Thank you so much. Alrighty,
You
so we will
know.
see y'all next time. We've got 2 more episodes of this series, and yeah, let us know how you're enjoying it, and chat with you later.
Till next time.